ask your questions. Am I right? Okay.
Oh, it is live on the subject.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Sunday. I was gonna shower and get dressed up, but Sean hogged the bathroom, and so here we are. Happy lazy Sunday. Whoop whoop. Hey Maureen. Random question. Does anybody work for Delta Airlines? Sean and I were hoping to leave earlier to go home because work stuff cleared up for him, and so we were like, hey, maybe we'll leave early. And then they tell us that it's going to cost $200 each ticket to change them, and that's more than we paid for the tickets initially. So, what? Why do airlines always annoy me like that? I know that it's not their fault. I didn't want to, the guy that was helping me, like, I was like, okay, thanks for looking into it because it's not his fault, but I just don't get it. So if anybody works for, you know, Delta Airlines, let me know. Tweet to me or something. So that is really all I've been doing. We've been getting ready to go. I did laundry. I cleaned house. Got some last minute Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And then we're just hanging out. And so I thought I'd do another live stream. If any of you weren't able to tune in to Fridays, I hope that you at least got to watch it on YouTube. And this one will be on YouTube as well. So if you have to jump off or anything, you can still watch it later. But anyway, so yeah, I may not be able to do a live stream while I am at my mom's house and visiting family. A, because her Wi-Fi is not very good, and B, because I'm on vacation. And so I hope all of you have a wonderful time off and wonderful time just resting and relaxing, spending time with friends or family or whoever it is you want to. And oh yeah, Bethany, of course. I hope everybody got their Patreon gifts. I think all of them have been received at this point. And yeah, they're really fun. I sent out Mad Libs. If you guys don't know what those are, as a kid, oh my, do I have any extras? I don't think I have any extras this month. But as a kid, I loved Mad Libs. And it was not only a way for me to learn like different terms in English, like in the English language, like adverbs and verbs and nouns and all of that. It was like good for me to learn as a kid, but they're also hilarious. And so I really enjoyed them. So I sent those out. Oh, hey, Wascally Wabbit in April. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, we're trending already. We are. Look at us. We're so popular. Oh, 2,000 likes. You guys, when I got off of the live stream on Friday, I found another person who is a Kenyan, a fellow Kenyan, and she was talking about mental health as well and like sharing her experience. And so I invited many of you, if you're a fan of me on here, I invited my fans so that you just know that there are other people sharing their stories, being brave about, you know, sharing mental health stuff and fighting through the stigma. And yeah, it was really cool. It was cool to see what she was doing, and it was cool to, so if any of you got that invite, then that's where that came from, and I just wanted to support her because it's great. You know, every time you guys share a story, every time you share a video, every time we talk about it, you know, more people get helped, and that's the goal, right? So anyway, yeah, Sean is here. He's hanging out with me. How's everybody else doing? What's going on? As always, sorry, I've got my pony. So I have, ooh, who is throwing the confetti? It's a party already. Oh, thanks, Alyssa. Thank you, thank you. And you've been a longtime viewer. That's so cool. And let me know if you have any questions, obviously. I'm so thankful for all of your guys' support through this. It's really interesting if you think about, like, at the end of the year, I always get a little nostalgic about, like, where we've come from and how the channel's grown. And I really think that it's great to see you all grow yourself. Like, I know a lot of you have gone through, you know, different changes and going into treatment and getting out, and even just the channel as a whole, like, growing in size. It's really great to keep up with it and to see everybody. And I don't know, I just really love what I do, and it's really cool. And I want to thank you all for making it possible, because without you, I can't keep doing it, and there can't be a me. Oh, Gina, you've been watching since 2013. Whoop, whoop. I know. How long have you guys been watching? And I'm always curious, like, whenever I do meetups, if any of you've done a meetup with me, you know that I always ask how long you've been watching and how you found me. Like, how did it come about? Because I'm always curious when people came around to it. Was it something that YouTube dished up along the side and that's how you found it? Oh, Maureen's been watching since 2012. We got Yana at 2014, 2015, Lucy. Oh, you found me yesterday, Rachel. Whoop, whoop. Oh, since 100 subs, Georgie. That went by so fast. Oh, Melissa, I drank the seawater. Yeah, that's how you found me, Fabs. That's awesome. And Allie since 2013. Yeah.
That's your friend, Bob.
That's so, okay. Thanks, honey. And hey, everybody on Facebook. Sean set up the camera so you can watch from behind the scenes. If you guys are curious what it looks like behind the scenes, I mean, you pretty much are seeing me. Oh, do you guys see my posters? Oh, wrong side. Pew, 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 pew. You can get those at DFTBA. It's my first like official like merch. Remember I did this stuff on Spreadshirt from forever ago with the tree and stuff because no one, we were small and I was just trying to make it a way for you guys to buy shirts and for me to get my own stuff. But now we have some cool posters. I keep wanting to go to the other side. It's crazy. Okay. I know there are lots of people here. Look at this. Oh, that's so cool. Fabs is saying that it's like the community is like my home. I think that's great. And that's kind of the through YouTube recommendations. Thanks, Brie L. It's always cool to find out. I forgot about that, Carly, that you saw me through Ashley Mardell, which she's changed her name, I believe, recently. Paul Gilmartin. Yeah. He actually just emailed me yesterday. So good old Paul. And I have one more video with him actually from the archives. Do you guys mind the archive videos? Sean and I had
You know what that means?
Well, the old videos. Like, do you mind an old random video
One that
hasn't been released from way back day that's like sitting in a hard drive somewhere that we lost or forgot about or mislabeled? Because that happens. And so I have that video with Paul, and then we're going to look into, we have some footage from Elgin that we haven't released, and I don't know how usable it is or what it looks like, but we're going to check it out. So I don't know if you guys, okay, Nazanin says the old vids are great. Do it. I would like it. Awesome. So yeah, and we have one left with Paul. I'll have to look into the topic because I'm not sure, but he has such great advice. And if you guys wonder who Paul is, Paul Gilmartin has a podcast called Mental Pod, and it's great. And I just has such great insights. He's so amazing. So, through Laura Lejeune. And his search about depression. That's awesome. Hey, Jarrett, you will be guesting people. So, do the old video for sure. Okay, cool. And so I have a bunch of different old, we have just a few. We keep them on my whiteboard over there so I don't forget them when we stumble across them. I'm like, oh my God, we have that other video. And I'll see if I can do more with Barry if you guys want. But anyway, that's enough chatter about the videos. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys like them. I'm glad that you don't mind the old videos coming about because sometimes I'm like, like my hair is long and people always comment in the comments like, when was this filmed? And I'm like, it was like a year ago. Sometimes you get some extras. I'm going to get some water real quick. Okay. Sarah Claire, since 50 subs. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, Batman is here. Otherwise known as Carly. She's here. Yeah, do you guys remember back in the day? It's funny to think about how it used to be when I would be able to answer everyone's questions. Now, there's just no possible way. So, okay, let's answer a few questions in the chat, and then I'll guess someone, and then we're going to go over to Patreon and just see how everything is going. Oh, Fabs, your stepdad calls you Batman? That's so funny. I just always think of Carly as Batman, because that's what her usernames always are. Okay, Princess M asks, hey, Katie, is it possible to become too attached to an eating disorder? It's a difficult question, and the quick answer is yes. Of course it's possible because it can become, I don't want to use the word attached. I think that's the problem. I think that we think of the eating disorder as part of ourselves and part of our identity, and we're not able to like see out of it as so much as attachment, but more identification. And I think that we can definitely be that way with an eating disorder, and that's part of what keeps us stuck, as we feel like nothing else is important to us. Oh, thanks for the applause, Kira. That, we don't have anything else to offer, and that's just not true. The truth is that we are so much more without our eating disorder, and our eating disorder just keeps us stuck and keeps us feeling like shit. Am I right? Okay. Oh, thanks, Cassidy. I'm so glad that you love the videos. And Bernie became a fan, and you can become a fan, and becoming a fan means that then you get notified anytime I post or if I go live randomly without telling you. Maybe I could do that sometime. Surprise! Everybody loves a surprise, right? So you can become a fan. Of course, Princess, you're very welcome. Oh, thank you, Mayflowers. Flowers? I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Let me know if I'm totally ruining it. But she said that I'm 100% sure Katie has the best mental health channel on the YouTube machine. Thank you, thank you. That's so sweet of you. And Nikki Fitch, one of the people, the Patreon, as well as another fellow Kenyan, messaged me the other day and was saying that I should watch other people on YouNow to kind of get a better idea of how it feels for you guys. And I have, and I've paid attention. And there are a lot of different ways, like we talk about each time. Carla says, depends on the surprise. True, fair enough. But you can click on the screen of me to share the moment, to capture a moment, to post onto Twitter. You can invite your fans from YouNow. There are a lot of different ways to share it. And there's even the, you know, the free spin portion underneath the chat where you pick out what you're gonna, like what kind of little special items you want to share or give it likes. So that's kind of how it works. If any of you are new to this, it's something that I'm still kind of learning, and you guys can let me know how better to help you, or if you want me to tell you more tips on how to use YouNow. I'm still learning too, but the likes are great and the shares are amazing and capturing moments and all that. So, oh, Rachel Byron's asking, what's misophonia? I have a video about it. You can just type it into YouTube, Kati Morton misophonia, and you can watch it. And actually, the funny thing about it, not funny, haha, just ironic. Oh, Keely's here. Hi, Keely. Anyway, one of my friends, Todd, he has it and he struggles with it. He told me about it, and I even say in the video, I'm like, at first I thought he was just like pulling my leg because, you know, like I joke, I say Todd's dramatic, and that's just how he is. But then I started looking into it, and a lot of people struggle with it. Even Kelly, you know, like Regis and Kelly, or Kelly and Michael, or whatever her show is called now, Kelly Ripa struggles with it and has come out about it, and how much, like how hard she has to deal with it, and like things that she does to tolerate it or to distract and stuff like that. So it's a real thing, and you can, oh, you get to stay today. Yay, Keely. So you can check out that video if you want more information about misophonia. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. You guys are so sweet today. Oh, thank you, April, for, if you look at April posted the video, the link to misophonia. Thank you so much. That's really helpful, especially when people just have questions and then, you know, right now they want the answers. Okay, hey, Adelina says, is it normal to kind of wish that you were more sick? Definitely. A lot of times, I have videos talking about this, and if you are ever curious about a topic, the best way to search things on YouTube to find like videos that I've made about a certain topic, put in my name, and then put in some key phrases, because I try to tag my videos for the different issues that they touch on, and they'll come up obviously in order of popularity, which may not always be the best for you. But for instance, like wanting to stay sick, Kati Morton would probably render the video that she's, you know, the question that she's asking. And it's very common to want to be more sick or to stay sick, because, like, going back to my first question about an eating disorder and feeling attached to it, we can really feel like it's, oh, thanks, Cindy, for all of the likes. You guys, we almost have 10,000 likes already. Woo woo. But we identify such a huge part of ourselves with our illness. And that's why I don't really like giving diagnoses if I don't have to, or talking to my clients about them so much, because I don't want you to think that that's who you are. That's just something that you're working on right now. And so I think that wanting to be sick, it means that we feel that's an important part of us, and that's, you know, part of who we are, when I want to tell you there's so much more outside of that illness. Okay. I know, so many likes. Yay, yay, yay. Woo, woo. Okay. Oh yeah, and Freya captured a moment. Okay. I'll look for you, Jer. I just haven't guessed anybody. Let's do one more question, and then I'll guess someone, okay? Oh, thanks, Beth's New Journey. You guys, thank you so much for all the support. This is really amazing. Okay. Oh, yeah, and this is, aw. Thanks, Emma Cupcake. She's been a long-time viewer, too. She just sent me a nice message. Okay. Sketchy Business says, hey, Katie, I have PTSD, and I've been in therapy for about a year, but I still haven't been able to talk. Do therapists get frustrated at this? No, not at all. Often what that tells me, just to give you an idea, this is like behind the curtain of a therapist, inside a therapist's mind, is if my clients aren't able to move through something or aren't able to process something, and I find that we're just kind of full, or we keep going over the same thing, or we can't move forward, we're just kind of stuck, that usually means that you either need to go to a higher level of care, maybe you need more support, or maybe that's just adding in an extra session. If you're only seeing them once a week, maybe it's twice a week, or adding in a group, or going into an inpatient treatment. Because often if we feel stuck and we feel like we're trying and we're just not able to talk about something, and it's really hard, and that usually means that we need a little bit more support to get. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not doing anything bad or wrong. We aren't frustrated as therapists. I just always want to make sure that I'm taking into consideration my clients' well-being and how they're doing. And if we're not moving forward and I don't have any more tools or tips, tricks to give them, they need to see somebody else, or they need a higher level of care, or they need both, you know? And so that's how I refer people out, you know, try to, oh, the Facebook Live is slower than this one. This is the real deal. This is the YouNow. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. If you have a question, let me know. But that's probably why. But anyway, so those are my thoughts on that. Now let's get somebody on. Let's guess someone. Now I know Gerald has had trouble last time. Here, Gerald, make you a guest. We can get that other question. I think you had another question that you wanted to ask. Hi, Jer.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm okay. I think this is the first time in about a year. I've gone now 5 days without crying. So that's a big thing.
That's good though. Yay.
Yeah, but I didn't really get to finish speaking to you the other night.
I know it cut out. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, the dizzy spells, or the dizziness, as I was saying to you, it's not like it happens at a certain time. It's just there constantly, and it doesn't go away no matter what I do.
And it doesn't what? I'm sorry.
It doesn't go away no matter what I do, like the dizzy spells.
Okay.
It's constant dizziness. It's there all the time, and I've mentioned it to my side team about changing meds or decreasing one of the medications, and completely against it. They just won't listen to me whatsoever. So I'm kind of lost in that way.
Frustrating. Are there any other? I don't know how the systems work where you are, like as far as like NHS or whatever, type of treatment or like care center you have to go through. Is it possible for you to go to a different one or to see somebody else? Is that a possibility? I know you saw the emergency team this last week, but are there any other options or any other people that we can see or anything like that? And I'm not sure how that works.
No, because I've been paying privately for DBT therapy, and now
oh wow,
in Ireland it's called the HSE, not the NHS. In Ireland it's called HSE, and they have me seeing a psychologist at the moment, and she's just doing an assessment on me now the last 3 weeks, and all there is just questions about my past and blah blah blah. But they're not I'm trying to tell them what issues I'm coming up against. Like if that dizziness wasn't there, Kate, I'd be so much further along in the recovery process.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, you can't. If the dizziness is constant, you're just not feeling like yourself. I mean, that's something I'd say to your doctor as soon as whoever's prescribing your medication, I would let them know about that as soon as possible. It just sucks because it sounds like people there just aren't listening. Like no one's listening to you. They're just doing their whatever they think they need to do.
And that's the thing, you see, when I mentioned it, they're saying, oh, well, we re-diagnosed you from general anxiety disorder to BPD, so this is something that you're going to have to work on with the psychologist. And I'm just like, listen, that's not my concern. It's like, that's not what's bothering me. What's bothering me is the dizzy spells. Like, I can barely get out of bed in the mornings with them, with the dizziness, and they just don't listen, Kate.
Yeah. I that's the thing that sucks is I wish there was, I mean, I can try to tell you what to say and stuff, but it doesn't even sound like
no, they're just not.
They just aren't even listening. And I don't know if there's a possibility of trying someone else or going to a different area, like driving 40 minutes to get to another city or something else and getting in there, like getting over there. I don't know.
I suppose I could try a psychiatrist. I could try a private psychiatrist because I've done day hospitals, I've done so much therapy, I've done everything,
Yeah, and if you can afford it, I know that it can be expensive. Like I do recognize, because even in the States, like all of ours are private unless you go through like a Medicare or Medi-Cal or a county hospital or something like that. Okay. All of ours are private, but they're still like half covered by insurance or 80% covered or whatever. If you can afford to, I think that could be best, because the thing that sucks is that I can tell you what to say and I can tell you kind of, what things to ask for, what things to express, but if they're not listening, that doesn't mean anything. It's not going to help,
Okay.
So
can
if
I ask?
you can afford to, I'd look into it.
Yeah, can I ask you that question for the
Yes.
lady off your website? There's just to let you know, okay, there's one or two people on the chat room that are in desperate need of answers, but they just are afraid to come on the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So,
a lot of people are scared to be on live.
so there's a lady by the name, her username is Help My Heart,
Uh-huh.
and she says, I'm not sure how to ask Katie, but it's split into kind of three different things, Katie. So it's how do I get my treatment team on the same page when it seems recovery is so confusing? How do I explain to my family that just because they feed me, it's not going to change me, it's going to make things worse? That's in relation to her eating disorder. And how do I explain that this is my recovery, and just because they want to help, it's still up to me to want change.
So, and I'm not, because some of it cut out a little. So she's like
Okay.
trying to figure out how to express
Yes.
it to her family, like to let them know.
She has an eating disorder. So the first part of it was how does she get all of
Oh,
her
eating disorder.
treatment? Yeah. So
That's
how
what
does
I
she
meant.
get all of our treatment team on the one
On the same
how's it?
page.
Yeah, on the same page. And the second part is that because of her eating disorder, her family think that by forcing her to eat is going to make her feel better, where it's actually making her feel worse.
Yeah. And okay, so there's a couple things in there. So, and thank you all for all of your tips. I've been seeing everybody's, giving thumbs up and giving tips. Thank you so much. As far as getting the treatment team on the same page, the best thing that you can do is to whoever your main person is. Usually it's your therapist or your psychiatrist or someone like that you see the most regularly. You ask them to get in touch with your other people. So for instance, something that I do for a lot of my eating disorder patients is I talk to their psychiatrist and I also talk to their dietitian. And for all of my clients, if they're seeing someone else, like a specialist of some sort, a certain doctor, a certain psychiatrist or whatever, I always call and have contact with them so that we're on the same page. And it also, because I'm a therapist and I can't prescribe medication, and that's not part of something I can do, it helps me better understand what medication they're on, what they're trying, and side effects. Kind of like we were talking with you, Jared, like that would be important for me to know as a therapist, like, oh, the dizziness, and then I would report back to your psychiatrist and say like, hey, he's still feeling dizzy. There's something we can do about this. And I would be kind of like your advocate and also making sure everyone's on the same page. So as far as getting everybody on the same page, I would just encourage her to sign releases and to ask them to talk to one another. And it's something they should do. You shouldn't have to ask. But like we're learning, right, Jared, with your situation, it's like not everybody's good at their job. Not everybody actually cares. It can be shitty, just like any position people take. Not everybody's the best at their job or cares enough or is empathic enough to like do it. And so sometimes we just have to ask and we have to advocate for ourselves because that'll get us the farthest. And then the second question, and let me know if I'm off topic, Jared, but then the second part was that she wanted to know how to like tell her family that like just trying to feed me isn't making it better.
Yeah, it's making it worse.
Yeah, and I have a couple videos. I'll try to look them up after. I'm trying to think of how I'd search them. But I think it's like talking to your family about eating disorders or going through the myths of eating disorders. If her family would watch videos, she could definitely pull some up that speak to her and she could share them with her. But I think the main bare bones thing that I find parents hear best is when we just tell them, if she's able, be like, I know that, like, because they're aware of her eating disorder. So I would say, I'm struggling with this, but the thing that I want you to understand that in the end of it's really not about the food, and feeding me isn't helping the problem. They could even say like, I watch these videos on YouTube and she talks about how eating disorders are a coping skill, and that's how I feel it is for me.
Jennifer just put it.
Jennifer just put
Jennifer put it on the screen.
Oh, she just posted it. Yay! So she posted the video. Thanks, Jennifer.
Jennifer's our official video.
She is. She's so good. And so I think talking to parents about it. Oh yeah, it's called Talking to Parents and Friends About Eating Disorders. I have a video. But I think that parents a lot of times just don't understand.
She's so depressed at the moment because of it all as well, and it's adding to it. So
yeah,
she's really, really down because she feels that like her family they're just kind of like they're telling her, oh, you're a mom and you're a wife and all, no, to get your head together.
Oh, like putting her down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if she's able, because often when we feel bad, we're not able to verbalize, we get so frustrated and just feeling like shit. So we just don't want to say anything. But if she's able, I think I would encourage her to try explaining a little bit, keeping it very short, but telling her family, eating disorders are a coping skill. She could even compare it, if they understand, to like addiction and saying like, people use this to numb out. And that's something that I'm struggling with, but I'm working on it, and that's it. So like they understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, she'll get to watch this stream back. She's in work tonight, but even though she's based in the States, I just keep in contact with her. So she said that she would get a look at the stream later on. So
Okay.
I think I've taken up enough of your time, Katie. Just
You're
just
fine.
two things. Fab said if she writes a question in the comments, can you answer it? And Soph sent you a question in Patreon that she'd love an answer to as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll be in Patreon later on the live stream and afterwards, so hopefully I'll get through that, and if she has follow-ups or something, I can answer it there.
No, okay, you're a star.
Okay, thanks, Jer.
Cheers, Katie. Talk to you soon.
Keep me posted, okay?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas. Bye.
Okay. Oh, that's an interesting question, Killian Van Blitterswick. Did I say that right? Probably not. What's the difference between DBT and MBT? You guys, I don't know what MBT is. I'm going to look it up and see. Oh, it's in... Okay. This is why I love what I do. So in the UK, so we don't have MBT in the States. When I looked it up, it's like MBT in the UK primarily. However, I guess it is something that some people do, mentalization-based treatment. In truth, I don't know anything about it. I will look into it. I can read about it, but I don't want to do it on your guys' time. I'll read about it later. The only thing that I'm seeing already is that it's a part of psychodynamic therapy, and there are a bunch of different types of therapy. I never want to bore you guys with because truthfully, most therapists don't do just one type of therapy and that's all they do. They always pick and choose. Like for instance, I'm a CBT or DBT based therapist, but I do pick and choose from other therapies and just different techniques that work for me and things that I've seen work and help my clients most. And because I specialize in self-injury and eating disorders, it's very behavioral, it's very structured, and so that's what I do. But I also pull from psychodynamic theory, which psychodynamic is how we come out on our own, but how our relationship with our parents and family still affects us, and how that structure of a family, it's hard to explain, but it's also going into the history and where we came from. As well as for me, I add on the CBT stuff, which is right now, because CBT and DBT are more in the now. Psychodynamic also digs into your past of your family and your upbringing, and even your parents' parents, and seeing all of the communication styles or struggles. And so I don't believe that we can ever fully heal without at least processing through some of the past stuff. So I still do some psychodynamic stuff. So that's what MBT comes from. Is this making any sense, you guys? I feel like I'm talking psychobabble. I'm sorry, but I hope that makes sense. But I will try to explain. I'll try to look into MBT, and if that's something you guys want me to talk more about, I'm happy to do more videos about different types of therapy. Okay, I'm making sense. Thanks, Alexandra, for letting me know. Sometimes I'm like, is this making sense? So anyway, there's bunches of different types of therapies, and that's why it's great to try different therapists, because each of us pull from different things. So, okay, it's making sense. Yay! Okay, good. But anyway, I can talk more about different types of therapy if that's something you guys want. Yeah, because you guys really like the CBT one, I could do one on psychodynamic or psychoanalytic, which is old, and don't see someone who only does psychoanalysis, please. I beg of you. You'll be in there for years and years and barely move forward. So anyway, but I can happily do that. Okay, let's get into, German Kenyan here. Hey, Laura. Let's get into a couple more questions, and then I'm going to guess somebody. I'm going to try to guess more of you. I know sometimes, it just takes a little time in there, but... hockey jerseys. I want a hockey jersey, you guys. I don't have one. I had to borrow Sean's. I don't have a Go Habs Go hockey jersey. But if I was going to get one, guess who it'd need to be? I know you're thinking it's Carey Price, but that's wrong. It's Byron.
David Desharnais?
No, Desharnais. Desharnais, you guys. He's been injured, and now we're playing well. I wonder why. So ironic. I would want Byron. Byron's the shit. Okay.
The scroll is so busy.
Okay, Alexandria is asking, what do you think the best therapy is? This is actually, maybe this is that's a clickbaity title, you guys. I love it. What's the best therapy? I'm going to create that video. But you guys will know, spoilers, you'll know the truth already. There isn't the best type of therapy. It all depends on you. It depends on what you're working on, what you're struggling with, and what type you respond to. Because everyone's different, okay? So I'll use myself as an example. So I don't enjoy talking about past history of my grandma, my mom and dad. I don't like digging into that and processing it through it. I also didn't have any traumas growing up, so that's not really beneficial to me. And I'm also extremely type A and very organized and kind of like, I think when I was younger, I had a little flavor of like OCD stuff. So like, I need tasks. I need things to do. And so when I find a therapist who gives me tasks and homework and structure similar to like what I do in my own therapy practice, I thrive. I like it. Then I feel like I'm making progress, and I need to know I'm making progress in order to be invested in it. And so for me, CBT therapy is the best. And I know everybody's like, why do you say CBT therapy? Because people don't always know what CBT stands for. Cognitive behavioral therapy is best for me because I like that. I need the structure. I like the homework. I also enjoy DBT myself because the mindfulness is really helpful. I love yoga. I love meditation. And so having those things on board in therapy makes it so much better. But there isn't anyone that is best. I encourage you to try various therapists and types, and I'd more specifically find someone who specializes in what you're struggling with versus the type of therapy they do and practice. Because if you're struggling with eating disorder, you want someone who actually specializes in it, who's actually worked in a treatment center, who actually understands where they come from and how to process it. And same with self-injury or depression, OCD, trauma. You want to find a therapist who specializes in what you're struggling with. Okay? Simply Jenna, are you ready to become our guest? Be our guest. I love that Wascally Wabbit gets to be on today too. Be our guest. Be our guest. Ooh, a student mental health nurse. Woo woo. I'm glad you're able to be on. Oh, why do we see Jer? Oh, hi. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What's your question?
I had a question about anxiety and like, so I've been getting like really sensitive to smell and sound, and I heard that could be like related somehow.
To anxiety?
Yeah.
It could be. I'll give you like my two thoughts on it. Okay? Like the first is that when we are extremely anxious, we can also feel very hypervigilant, like where we're super aware and kind of jumpy. I almost think of it as like, you know how like birds or squirrels are like jerky with the way that they move? I feel like sometimes when we're really highly anxious, we can feel that way. Like every small thing we notice and we're just hyper aware of what's going on. And that to me would mean that your anxiety is like at its peak. And I would encourage you to talk to your doctor or your therapist about it so that you can help bring it down. Because you find yourself so hyper aware that like sounds, smells, everything's just really overwhelming. It's like a sensory overload. I would talk to somebody because even though medication doesn't cure everything, it might help get you out of this so that you can feel better under control and maybe work and do some things in therapy so you don't have to stay on the medication at all. But that just sounds like you're kind of maxed out. I don't know if that's exactly how you feel, but that's just like my first thought about it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And then the second thought I have too is like, and I don't know, your full history and everything, but with some of my clients, whenever they tell me that they just like a sensory overload, like everything is just too much, I always send them to get friends because there are some sensory processing disorders. There's the whole autism spectrum and all of those things, even if it's just like that helps explain why everything seems really loud. Things will feel overwhelming. Smells, textures of food, certain like stimulus for our five senses can feel really like too much. And so I always have my clients get assessed that as like for that stuff as well to make sure that I'm not completely ignoring the symptoms because it can kind of, in my experience, it can come from either place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So are you seeing anybody? Are you seeing a therapist?
No.
Are you in the States? I didn't see if you're...
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that you could look or talk to a school counselor, or I know they do testing at schools for free through many of the cities and counties. I have a lot of clients I've sent them that it's not, that doesn't cost them a lot.
Yeah. My school probably has that. I don't know.
Yeah, and if that's something, it sounds like it's bothering you, something that is bothering you, I would encourage you to look into it because you're stressed out and your anxiety is high. Some, breathing techniques or Headspace app or anything to help calm you down. But I always just like to for me, I like to make sure we check it all out because the sooner we know, the sooner we can get help for it, you know?
Yeah.
So let me know. Want to keep me posted? Do you know how to reach out to a counselor and stuff?
No.
You can honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but wherever they have a little office usually, like off of the main office or off in the hallway, just give a knock and say hi. And then just say, hey, I just, I've been feeling anxious and I was just curious how I set up some time to talk. That's it. And they'll tell
Okay.
you. But trust me, it's not as scary as we think it's going to be. They're totally nice and easy, and they'll schedule you in, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Keep me posted, Jenny.
Yeah.
It can get better.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
It can be hard, you guys. Like we can feel really overwhelmed. I just always like to make sure I'm considering all symptoms. Like I don't know everybody's story, and I'm not seeing, like, I don't see you guys in my practice. But I think if anything is bothering you and you're not sure where it's coming from, it's important to get properly assessed. I think that's one of the main things. I'm adding it to my list of frustrations with mental health care is that people don't always do proper assessments, and then people go untreated and have a time. And so anyway, that's, those are my thoughts. So make sure you're getting properly assessed. Okay, let's see.
Can I pass on a question?
I'm in Patreon real quick, and
okay,
then yes, Sean has a question he's gonna send over to me. But right now, I'm gonna answer this question. It says, this has really been confusing me. Well, then it's a great question. I'm sure other people are confused too. Why is it that I feel like I am perfectly okay the whole day, but pretty much every single night these days, I retreat into my room and just break down? This has been going on for a little while now, and I've tried journaling about it, but I came up with nothing. What would be your suggestions? Okay, so you guys, it's funny because I was just talking about this in my, I have that like peer support group / supervision group where we talk about things. We talked about this in group last week or the week before. And the truth about that kind of issue, nights suck. Am I right? If we're struggling, nights are the fucking worst. And we can't sleep, and we really have a hard time, and everything runs through our head, and we're thinking about like this conversation we had the other day or 5 years ago, and we're worrying about it, and we're ruminating, and we're beating ourselves up, and we feel like we're worthless, and yada, 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 yada. It's 2 a.m. I'm still not asleep. What the hell is happening? So the reason that this happens is because all day we have stimulus. I mean that to say, like, we have distractions. Things are happening. We have things going on. We have errands to run, TV to watch, people to see. Everybody else is moving about. We can go down to the coffee shop. We can go do things, and there are people out, and there are things happening to distract us and to keep our mind off of all our ish. At night, not so much. Everything gets really quiet. People aren't out as much. Thanks for the likes, Keely. You guys, we're almost to 20,000. And so, well, we're 19,000, but that's close to 20,000. And so when we don't have the distractions that we're really, really needing, and we're really, like, honestly relying on to keep things going. Oh, thanks, Abigail. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Then things come up and we feel like shit, and it all comes back. And so I would encourage you, this is something I try with my clients, is to have them take time during the day when we could distract, and instead work on processing through things that maybe came up the night before. I know this is going to sound weird, but it's like forcing your mind to think about it when you want to think about it, when you want to process through it. Not that we want to process through it. That's like, I'm taking a big leap there. But when we could otherwise ignore it, let's structure time to work on it, because then it's less likely to come up at night when things are quiet, because we've already thought about it. We've already talked about it with ourselves, or processed through, or sent that email or logged to our therapist or whatever. That will keep us, we're controlling the processing that needs to happen, and we're controlling that overwhelm that we can feel at night. And so, yeah, thanks, Jordan. I hope that helps. And I think it's like something that we don't always think about, but if we take time to process it and we structure that time, then it's less likely to come up and it feels out of control when we're trying to sleep. But let me know. The person that asked on Patreon, let me know and keep me posted on this. And for any of you, let me know, if that's helpful. Okay. Kate Healy says, is it common having suicidal ideations with intent, preventing us from saying anything? I'd like to, but it's not like I don't really want. But it's like I don't really want anyone to stop me. That is very common. It's going to be really hard to reach out for help when we're struggling. Oh, thanks, E-Love. That's a cute name. I love your guys' names on here. They're so funny. So I think that it's very common for us not to want to reach out for help because we're feeling hopeless. But if you are struggling with suicide, please watch my suicide and honest discussion video. And I have a safety plan video. All of those things. Oh, hey, Nikki. Hey. I was just talking about you earlier. And thanks, Keely. Yay. So I know that it's really hard to reach out when we're feeling suicidal and really struggling with those thoughts. But know that there are people there to help and there is support available. And I know you may not want people to stop you, but like I just put out that video about suicide, is it a choice or not, and how I really think we're in the right state of mind. That's why the safety plan is really important. Having someone who maybe checks in on you, or friend or family member, because you're worth it and it can get better. And I know it feels really shitty right now, but trust me, with a little bit of oomph, a little push, a little speaking up, things can start to finally improve, okay? Thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer shot out the video for that, you guys. So make sure
Jennifer's awesome.
I know, Jennifer is on it. She is so good. She's so good. Oh, thanks, Fiona. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm going to guess someone. Are you guys ready? Okay, Damagoj? Damago? I don't know. You have to let me know how to say it. Dom? Can I just call you Dom? Does that work? Maybe that'll work.
Well, hi.
Hi, how are you? How are you? Ooh.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just have an echo. Could you pull your headphone out, maybe? If that works.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Let me see. There's still an echo? Oh. Now it's worse.
Oh. Okay.
Put it back in.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, let's see if this fixes it. Ooh. There's still an echo, but tell me your question. Answer.
Okay. My question is, I've been sexually abused since my second grade till 8, and I recently reached out for help to my therapist, and I don't know how to express myself to him, so that's a problem. I always say that I'm alright, but I'm not, and I don't know how to tell him that, because I smile and everything, so he thinks that I'm good.
You're doing okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me know. I have an echo, so do you mind if I drop you out and then answer? Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you. I'm just going to call you Dom because that's easier and I don't want to mess up your name. But I think, okay, so I think that that's very common. There are a couple parts. So the two parts of your question that I'm going to answer is like, number one, how do I start talking to my therapist about it more? And also it's like, we often want to pretend we're okay and we smile and we're like, no, everything's cool. And I think that that's just part of a coping skill. And hopefully your therapist is aware. And if you have follow-up question, just hop back in the guesting, okay? And I'll bring you back in, Dom. Or you can ask your follow-ups in the chat and I'll look for them. But I think the thing about processing through, first of all, I'm sorry that you were abused. That's terrible. And I hope that if you feel able, you're able to report the person who did it because they deserve to be punished, because there are no words. They need to be out of the world. Those people need to not be interacting with other humans and people that they could harm. And I hate that happened to you. But something that helps some of my clients is to start by writing it down. Writing down what you want to say, and it can be really, really difficult. Or if it's hard, if you don't like to see it and you don't like to write it, typing sometimes feels a little more disconnected, or just practicing saying it out loud to yourself. You can bring in letters with information that you want to talk with your therapist about, but I think something that you might start just practicing saying is, I smile and laugh and say things are okay, as a way to to cope with it and as a way to like overcome what's happening. And you can say, I know that often you'll ask me something and I won't be able to say it because I'm just trying to pretend I'm okay because that's just what I've been doing for so long. And they should know that that's what you've been doing for so long. That's really common. So many of my clients just try to put on a happy face and pretend everything's okay, even when it's not. And I think that that's such a normal coping skill because we don't want to talk to everybody about our ish. And that's like the frustration of people who are depressed where they're like, but you smile sometimes. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Everybody smiles sometimes. You don't know how I feel really. I'm not going to, be all the time. And so I think, being honest with your therapist about that portion could be the first step because then they can notice that, I used to have this client, for instance. I don't even see her anymore, but it's been years. And she used to laugh when I would ask her really difficult questions about her past. And she was abused as well. And I would bring it up and then she would just laugh. And we got to where we kind of joke about that because I'd be like, I know your laughter is actually like you crying, but you don't feel comfortable. And it's like a coping skill. And she, for a long time, fought it and would still laugh and laugh. But trust me, we know that it's hard. I don't think it's easy to talk about. I don't think it's something that we're going to just come out with and say, hey, this is what happened to me and be able to talk about it all the way through. But I think talking to your therapist first about how you smile and laugh and pretend things are okay, just so people don't ask or just as a way to cope. And then moving from there, because I think that that's really normal. And I think that that's the first step because processing through the abuse and the trauma is something that happens little chunk at a time, but being able to start the process of being real in therapy is where that whole thing begins. But let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Thank you for being brave enough to talk about it because know that you're not alone. There are a lot of Kenyans who've been through something similar. There are a lot of people who, are doing the same thing as you and having a hard time, and you have no idea how much this helps all of them. So thank you for being so brave with that, Dom. And let me know. Keep us posted, right? We'll be on, maybe not next week because I'm on vacation, but maybe the week after that. Yeah, even Nikki. See, we already have people who are saying, I laugh when something's hard. My counselor knows that laugh like you do, like how I said with my client, when I'm like, I know that you really just wanted to cry. And, because we're aware, we know that that's not the normal response to hard situations. And if you're just smiling and pretending everything's okay, but you're really not okay, that's okay. It's like, it's part of the process. Okay. And NAC Natural Cosmetics says, Katie, I want to ask, is it normal to want to be in pain? The truth about, I don't like the word normal, as I'm sure most therapists don't. I need to get some water. But part of the self-injury component can be enjoyment of pain. And I don't say enjoyment in the way that like, I just really love it. It's so amazing. It's more like I'm in control of it. It helps me numb out. Whether or not we realize this is where it's coming from, these are usually the places it's coming from. The numbing out, controlling the pain, punishing ourselves, or it's a release, like this. A lot of people who self-injure will say it's just a release, or it's an expression of inward pain, like we're expressing outwardly what we're feeling inward. So it's not. I'd say I just don't like the word normal, but I would say that it's very common for people to feel that way and for people to want to be in pain. But there are ways to process through it so that pain isn't a release and it's not a coping skill anymore, that we can cope with other things that are healthier so that we're not harming ourselves, hurting ourselves, or actually causing ourselves pain anymore. Okay? Okay, this is a good question. Jennifer said, how do we know what kind of career we want? Looking into forensic psychology, how do we know if it's detrimental to our mental health? Advice? Finding out what career you want is such a process. Thanks, Alyssa. Woo, woo, woo. Guys, almost 23,000 likes. Oh, I have a question from Alyssa that I'll answer in a second. So finding out what career you want is a little tricky, and I would encourage all of you to keep an open mind. You often know certain chunks, like some people are really into math, some people are really into art, some people are really into music, some people are really, and you kind of can pick, some people are really into psychology. You pick your niche, like Sean's really into film. So you kind of find the things that you're interested in that you find, oh, thanks Aurelia, that you find are super interesting and really captivating to you. And then we start learning about it. And that, Jennifer, is when we know if it's bad or good. If it's bad, what? If it's bad or good for our mental health. Because if we're triggered by something, if we find it hard to sit in class and hear them talk about the things that we're wanting to learn, if we can't read about it without having like a flashback or a body memory, or just completely dissociating or shutting down, or if our eating disorder or our self-injury or whatever it is, our depression gets worse when we're learning about it, That's when we know it's not good for our mental health. And often I find that people who've been through a lot of traumas or struggles actually are drawn to that because they're trying to figure out what's going on with them and trying to heal their wounds. And that's why I always encourage people, for any people who are like, oh, could I be a therapist if I had mental health issues? Of course you can. But you've got to get your own stuff under control. You've got to be in your own therapy. You've got to be in a place where hearing someone else talk about something that could be exactly like what you've dealt with isn't going to throw you off your game and cause you to have a really hard time. Thanks, Trisha. It's something that, would happen and it's hard, but we're able to move through it and we've already processed it, so it doesn't have any emotional attachment. Okay. And so I hope that helps, Jennifer. That's just kind of my thoughts about it, is if it is giving it if we're having an adverse reaction to learning about it and to practicing it, that's when we know it's not good for our mental health. Okay. Okay. The question from Alyssa, Sean, you have that up. I'm becoming a peer support. Okay. I'm becoming a peer support specialist and will be giving talks to master clinicians starting in January. Woo woo. Do you have any tips for my talk and me staying well? Okay. So are you meaning like keeping yourself in line, like making sure you're still doing well? I'm assuming that's what you mean, even though you're going to be supporting others. Okay. And to master clinicians. Okay. So sorry, I'm just making sure I'm answering all of your portions of the question. So it's great that you're becoming a peer support specialist. That's awesome. And I think the tips that I would give for continuing to take care of yourself, first of all, putting your self-care first, putting your mental health first. And if you find anything getting worse, know that you can always stop. You can take breaks. It's okay. Like, for instance, when I was practicing therapy, I was at an eating disorder treatment center when my dad died, and I took 2 weeks off, and I didn't see clients for even longer because it wasn't good for me. I had nothing to give. I was maxed out. And so I want you to understand that if you are feeling like it's too much, if your mental health isn't going very well, you can always take a break, okay? That's completely fine because you have to put yourself first. And then as far as tips for your talk, whenever I give talks or and I'm getting better at it, it's something that we just have to practice, right? We're all nervous and things, don't always, it's like anything. The more we practice it, the better we get and the less nervous we get and the more confident we get about doing it. And so because I've been giving more talks, something that I find is better is taking questions periodically throughout the talk, if that's part of it. A lot of mine are like that, where it's like, interaction with the people listening, to do that periodically after a certain topic is finished and not waiting till the end, because that's just too much. And then I find that it like breaks up the talk. So it's not so talking at, they feel like you're talking with them. Oh, Katie M. What a good name. Just spelled a little different. Sean really thought that was funny. And then also I find I like to add in funny things. Like I like to add in little e-cards or memes that I think, really display or express what I'm trying to get across, because I find people respond well to those. They think they're funny. And I also like to share little stories. And I know that sounds really weird, but sharing, like, for me, when I talk to other clinicians, I'll share, I'll share a personal story, like something that I fudged up on or something I learned the hard way, because that really makes me more personal and people can listen better, and then I think they remember it more. And then I also share, other experiences with clients or working in the system and like how the hospital system is. And I share stories as a way to break up just me talking at them and giving information. And so that would be my advice. That's what I think makes a good talk. Okay? And let me know. Let me know if that helps, Alyssa, and let me know if you have any follow-ups, okay? Emma Cupcake asks, can my mental health issues affect my dyslexia? It could definitely make it worse. I know for many of my clients who struggle with dyslexia. Oh, of course, Alyssa, you're very welcome. I hope it was helpful. When our mental health gets worse, a lot of other things can get worse, because our brain is like it's the computer of our body. It tells it what to do. It's like the motherboard. And so I think that, it's normal for when our mental health gets worse, for everything else to get worse. And dyslexia I've had clients where stress can make it worse and where depression can make it worse. And so definitely, I think that it definitely can. Oh yeah, see Carly, yeah, because Carly struggles with it. She says it gets worse when stressed out or tired, for sure. And so it's very common. Don't think that you're weird. Nothing's wrong with you. It's okay. Okay, going over to Patreon for one more question, and I'll get in there later and answer more of them. Let's see. Okay, this is a good question. It says, hey Katie, okay, sorry, there's a lot of people have replied to this. I was wondering if it's possible to have an eating disorder without the negative body image attached. For example, my work has been very stressful lately and I've started skipping breaks. I could be working a 12-hour day, and the first time I'll eat will be when I get home. At first, it was just a mechanism to get 30 more minutes of work into that day, in the false hopes that it would mean 30 minutes less the next day, like trying to catch up. I totally get it. But now it's progressed into an unwillingness to eat while I'm at work at all, even on less stressful days. I noticed this unwillingness a few weeks ago, so I've tried forcing myself to eat lunch, but all it does is make me feel horrendously nauseous. I have no issues eating on my days off. I eat appropriately at home. It's just when I'm at work, which is unfortunately 60 plus hours per week. Interested in thoughts that I have on the matter. You can definitely have an eating disorder without the body image issue. BDD, like body dysmorphia, is its own diagnosis. And I have a video about that, and you can watch that if you want to know what BDD is. But eating disorders don't always have body image. The weirdest thing, if you'll look at my anorexia or bulimia or EDNOS or binge eating disorder, any of those videos, you'll see that eating disorders don't mean that we think our body looks bad. The only criteria there is, I believe it's with anorexia only, but maybe others, I think it might be with bulimia, is just like the anorexic, I call it like the anorexic brain cannot see your body for what it is. It would always think that it's overweight or that it's big or bulky here when it's not, and it can't really see the truth. That's an eating disorder. I don't actually think, I mean, a lot of eating disorders do have comorbidity with body dysmorphia. However, it's not something that every eating disorder has, and that's completely normal to not feel bad about your body, but instead just be using food to cope with something bigger and something that you're trying to numb out from, and it's something that's really stressful, and it's just your way of dealing with stress, anxiety, trauma, whatever it is. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I hope that makes sense. The next live stream, Brittany, I haven't posted yet. You'll have to follow me on Twitter because I'm on vacation next week, so I don't know if I'll be able to do one. That's why I do 2 this week. Ooh, ooh. Thanks, Keely. And so, oh, Sean, you had another question, right?
Yeah, Nazanin had to leave.
It's the holidays.
You know
Okay.
Nazanin from Sweet
Yes.
Right Federer, and she's having a
Thanks,
hard time.
Keely. Okay, so Nazanin, who had to go away, but she'll...
Maybe go a little slower. Just
Well, I'm doing
sorry.
my thing. Okay, Nazanin says, I feel like I'm drowning in depression and my anxiety, and I don't know what to do. Help, please. The truth is, if we're having a really, really hard time, we need to reach out. When we're struggling, that really just means we need more support. And it doesn't mean we're failing. It doesn't mean we're doing a shit job. It just means that things are hard right now. And it's okay to need more support sometimes. Sometimes I increase my sessions. Sometimes I go from not seeing my therapist for a long time to seeing her every week for a long time. That doesn't mean that I'm doing a shit job or that things are, that I can't handle it on my own. It means right now I need more support, and that's completely fine. And so if you feel like you're drowning in your mental health issues, especially this time of year, a lot of us are having a hard time. I would encourage you to reach out, to find other help that's available, to get support from your friends, to get support from groups or your therapist, to talk to them, to find other resources. If your therapist can't see you more frequently, like let's say you're only going once a week or once every other week, if they can't increase your number of sessions, find out what other resources they are. It's okay to ask about them, okay? So I would just encourage you to do that. And I think that it's okay. It's totally fine to be struggling and to need more support. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? Okie dokie.
Hey, you hit 30,000.
Ooh, we got 30,000 likes. Whoop, whoop. Okay, Abigail and Liza says you've been waiting.
Thanks for answering that. The reason why I said that is because she's going to be watching the feed on YouTube as a rewind.
Oh, to rewatch, to watch the,
It's kind of cool.
It is cool that you guys can watch this after, Oh, you can ask your question on here, Fabs, definitely. You can answer on Patreon or ask it on Patreon too. It don't matter. Okay, let's see if we can connect with Abigail. Oh, your cat chewed through your sheets like a rat? Wascally Wabbit, that is terrible. But not the new ones, old ones, right? Hopefully. I love new flannel sheets, you guys. Oh, I tried to guess. That didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. Let's see. Lucy B, are you ready to be my guest? Be our guest. Be our guest. Oh, that's okay, Abigail. It can be overwhelming. I know it can be really... Drink cola. A Patreon is a way... Ooh, we've got echo. Remind me, ask that question. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
What's your question, sweetheart? I think I have an echo. Yeah, so just ask your question and then I'll answer, okay?
Okay, it's a really weird question.
It's
It's really
okay.
random. But my mum was an alcoholic since I was born up to about 17. She's only recently started getting better. And we've got, like, our relationship's got really good. And it's good, but I still feel like she doesn't feel like my mum, and I don't know if that's normal, but I see it, and she just doesn't feel like my mum, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That
And
totally
it's
makes
just,
sense. I'm gonna.
and it's,
Huh?
no, it's just really strange, and I don't know why.
Okay. Can I drop you out so I can answer? Because I have an echo for some reason.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
I don't know why the echo, guys. It's just sometimes headphones, sometimes not.
Holy
W
shit. We're number
WTF.
15.
Ooh, we're number 15,
That's
you
crazy.
guys. That's the highest we've ever been, I think. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Definitely is.
as far as Lucy's question, the reason, and I'm speculating, okay? This is something I would definitely bring up in therapy. This is something that I would definitely talk about more, because when we have a parent who is an alcoholic, oh, thanks, Thayer, or Thayer? Am I saying that right? I'm sorry. You guys, I butcher your names every day. So whenever we have a parent who is emotionally absent, physically absent, an alcoholic, a drug addict, even if they're just like an emotionally abusive parent, we often learn pretty quickly, because we're adaptive as humans. It's amazing. It keeps us safe and keeps us living. We learn right away that they're not okay and that it's not safe and we can't rely on them. And as much as that sucks to say it that way, that's really where that comes from. For I'm assuming, Lucy, the reason that she doesn't feel like your mom is because she hasn't been a mom. And you can have a great relationship now and she can be kind of like a friend to you, but she wasn't a mother. And so it's completely normal to not feel connected to them in that way because they weren't there for us. And I'm not dogging on the parents. I'm not being like, oh, you're terrible. Fuck you. This was horrible. But there are consequences to bad behavior and to addiction and to issues and to just not being there for your children. And there are consequences on both ends. There's consequences for the parent and there's consequences for the child. And I think when we don't have a parent who is acting like a parent, we don't feel like they are. And that's okay. I know that it feels like it's really weird, but I think it's way more common than people realize, that we'll have relationships with our parents that are more like a casual friendship or an acquaintance, because that's where it's actually safe and we don't feel like letting them in any closer, and they never acted like a parent, so we don't see them as a parent. Does that make sense? I know that it kind of is like it can sound harsh, and that's not what I'm meaning. I just want you to know that that's normal, and it's just because you know, because she wasn't a mom. That's why you don't see her as a mom. And that's okay. And I would encourage you, if any of you are feeling this way, that book that I recommend it all the time, but it's really great. It's called An Emotionally Absent Mother. I think it's by this woman, Jody, or I forget the last name, but it's a teal book with a little girl in the front. It's a really great book.
Our Amazon list?
I think it is on our Amazon list. I'd assume so. I use it a lot in my practice. It's really great. So I hope that helps and makes sense. Okay, yeah, and that makes total sense. Thanks, April. I just like to get the confirmation that what I'm trying to get across, you guys hear, okay? Yeah, Allie, that would actually be really great for you, I think. It has a lot of helpful tools for you to use in the moment, and then it also helps you better understand what attachment is, because I know I talk about attachment a lot, but I think sometimes it's hard for us to really fully understand what that means and how it applies to us, and that book does a great job. And if you guys can't find it or anything, tweet me, let me know. I'm happy to, start putting it, I'll make sure it's on the website, or I'll put it below in the description of this when it replays on YouTube so you can find it, because it's just really great. Okay, let's try who's been waiting the longest. That's what I like to do, because if you've been really patient and you've been waiting. Demi Sparkles, are you ready? Ooh, that was a good question. Someone asked about eating disorders. Hi, Demi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi. Can you
Thanks
hear me?
for waiting.
Yeah. How have you been?
Good. Just busy, but good. Ready to go on vacation, go see my family.
That's great. So I just have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
My mother here, she is hosting Christmas at her house, and one
Okay.
of the things that comes with hosting Christmas is family members coming over. I've been sexually abused by a couple of my family members, and they are actually coming over for Christmas this year.
Ugh.
So
Ick.
I kind of deal with that.
There's a couple of things. Since it sounds like you didn't have any say, right? It wasn't like you could be like, can they please
Yeah.
not come? Like, why would I want to be around them ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, it's the first. My grandfather just passed away, so that's why we are having most of our family come over to our house, because our grandparents spend Christmas at our house.
Gotcha. Oh, really quick, Abigail, you can ask your question in the chat. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm sorry for your loss too. What a hard time. And then everybody's gonna be there. It's like ick. But I guess my advice for going to having to be there, having to see them, and hopefully you don't have to do this very often in general. But there's a couple things we can do, and I would kind of compare it to the video I had about I think it's like dealing with fights with family. I have some advice, and then also like managing toxic family members. The videos that came out like in the last 2 weeks, I kind of talk about like preparing ahead before we go to events like that, and kind of knowing, like giving ourselves an out, I think is important, knowing we don't have to stay any longer than we want. And sometimes this sounds bad to say, but sometimes with my clients, I'll help come up with the get out of jail free card, like excuses before we go there. So that if something's happening, we can pretend that we have a migraine. We can pretend we got sick. As bad as this sounds, you're going to laugh, but if any of my clients are going somewhere where they're like, I may not be able to handle it, it might be too much, I always tell them, I'm like, if they aren't getting, like, if you don't think they're going to accept your excuses, just say you have diarrhea. No one ever argues with that. Be like, I got to go home. I got to leave. And I know that sounds like silly and we laugh about it, right? But no one's going to argue with that. Like, if push comes to shove and you can't get out, you just tell them you got to go. Literally. No one's going to argue. But I always encourage, I know, right? But I'm just being honest. Like, you try to think in the moment, right? What'll help you in the moment? But I think if you can bring a supportive person with you, or if you have a sibling that you're close with, or a cousin who understands, like having someone there that you can, like, they can be your partner in crime, is helpful. Also, just knowing that you don't have to communicate with that person at all, that's completely fine. You don't have to say hi. You don't have to be cordial. You don't have to be anything. You can just pretend they're not there. And that's completely acceptable. And then also taking care of yourself early in the day. Making sure you set aside time so you don't, like if certain things stress you out, like I don't want you to be rushed to get there. I don't want you to be rushed to make the food if you're bringing something. Or maybe you get there early so you have time with your mom and other people ahead of time. So if you do leave, there are things we can kind of do so that you don't feel like you have to be there at the party interacting with them when it's too much. Does that sound like doable? I don't know the exact scenario, but... Oh,
sorry, you keep cutting out.
Did it cut out?
Yeah, I cut out for a little bit.
Okay. Did you hear me at all?
I heard like the first bit. I didn't really hear the last little bit of what you said.
Okay. Okay. Here, I'm gonna drop you out and see if then. Let me know in the comments, okay? Let me know if it doesn't come through because it keeps freezing. I see you freezing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let me know, Demi. I'll look in the chat. I don't know. Sometimes it just like catches. But all I was saying was bringing a supportive person or having a partner like a cousin. Oh, thanks, Keely. she really liked that joke. Yeah. So bringing a supportive person, having someone with you that you can like be your partner in crime, even if it's a friend, if it's a family member, whoever. I also said doing stuff ahead of time before you get to the party to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and so you're not rushed and you don't feel stressed. And if you want, you could go early so you see your mom or other family members be there early before the creepy creeps get there and the jerks get there. Then you have time with them to spend so that if you do have to leave early, then you can. And so there's just a couple things. It's like preparing ahead, bringing a support, and making sure. Oh, thanks, Jennifer, for putting in the video. And so So yeah, so I think that those are just some of the ways to kind of help ahead of time. And I have a bunch of other videos. I have a whole playlist like in surviving the holidays, and there might be other videos I just can't remember that could be helpful as well. But hopefully that helps you get through it. But let me know, Demi, if I'm missing something, or if there's anything more. Okay. Yeah, of course, Lydia. I'm glad it's so helpful, you guys. Okay. Okay, Abigail, your question is up there. Oh, who is a peer? A peer is someone like, okay, there's your question. Okay, a peer is just like I don't know, how would I explain that, Sean? A peer is just your equal, a colleague, like you could, like other students in your class or your peers, yeah. Other kids in your class are your peers. Other therapists and other mental health professionals are my peers and colleagues. Just people kind of like with you. They're hanging with you. Okay, so the question is, and this is Abigail tried to guess, but then, we're number 12. Why does it control the scroll? Why did it lost it? I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second. Patience. Oh, Abigail, can you ask it one more time? I don't know if you can. Okay, there it is. I found it. So thank you for resending it. So my question has 2 parts. How do you know if you're being sexually abused? Can it be done by a best friend who is a peer? Yes. It doesn't matter how old someone is. I mean, it does as far as reporting goes when they're like, there's certain things that are more heinous and have stricter rules and all of that stuff. But abuse is abuse. And if you say no and it still happens, it's still abuse. And even if the person's our same age and they're touching us inappropriately or showing us themselves inappropriately or any of that, it's abuse. It's all some, it's all under the same umbrella. And so I would encourage you to speak up, tell somebody, get some support, and make it like report them. We got to make that stop. You never know. The thing that I always tell my clients is like, you never know if it's happening to someone else too. And we want to make sure that, we're speaking up and that we're stopping any of that from happening. Okay. Yeah, of course, Demi. I hope that was helpful. Let us know how the party goes. I hope it's okay and you get through it. Know that you can leave whenever you want. Okay. Okay. I'm out of coffee, you guys. We're almost out of time. I got a couple. Oh, this is a good question. Haley said, can an eating disorder be treated with medication? Yes and no. First part of, thanks, Pantalina, for the applause. I know chat is on steroids, Jer. We can treat eating disorders like the symptoms. If depression is part of it, if anxiety is part of it, those symptoms of it can be treated. And medication can help us, like I always say, right? If we feel like we're drowning, right? Something's happening, you guys. We're feeling like we're drowning. We're feeling like everything's just so overwhelming. And we just can't get our head above water to even do any of the techniques or to talk back to that voice. We're out. We just can't. Then we need medication to kind of get our head above water so that then we can start trying the techniques to see what's working and to see how much help we need. And so medication can definitely help with that. However, I think that to say the eating disorder be treated means that it would go away or it would be in remission or we'd be like, in recovery. That's not true. I believe that across the board. Medication doesn't completely fix a mental illness. It needs to be processed through. We need to talk about it. We need to figure out where it's coming from. And then we need to have other coping skills and other ways to help reach out and make sure we're getting the support we need. Medication need to be on board for us, but it doesn't fix the whole problem. There's always a lot of personal work and emotional work that needs to be done as well, especially when it comes to eating disorders, because they're a coping skill for something larger. And so we need to figure out what that larger thing is and heal it. Okay. Ooh, Carly captured a moment. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up, Abigail and Alexis. You guys are so sweet. Whoop, whoop. Okay, I'll answer one more on Patreon. And then one more in the chat, and then we'll call it a day, you guys, okay? I gotta do laundry, I gotta pack. Sean and I got some stuff to do. And like I said, does anybody work at Delta? We were trying to fly out earlier, and they wanted to charge us $400. And I'm like, what? Okay, this is a good question. It says, okay, I wanted to get your opinion on single parents struggling with mental health. How do we get over the fear of judgment? One of the major roadblocks for me when trying to force myself to go to the doctor is being that perfect parent. It's a constant worry that people will think I'm not capable of looking after my child. I don't have any support or family, and so I'm her only influence. She's so young, but I'm not sure how much kids can pick up on things. How do we avoid too much exposure and prevent our children from heading down the same path as ourselves? The truth about it is that I think parents feel a lot of judgment in general. I think that it is an amazing question, isn't it, Alexandria? I think that parents fear judgment a lot. And the truth of it is, and let's real talk. I wish I had more coffee to like get sassy with it. But let's just real talk this. Because the truth of it is that the parents that don't reach out for help and that pretend everything is just okay are the ones that fuck it up. Because kids can't catch a mental illness from us speaking up and reaching out. And I think it's great for children to see their parents going to therapy, to have their parents talking about the things they're struggling with. Because if any of us remember, when we are little and we're like in school and stuff and we're growing up, often we like, because there's judgment in the world and there's judgment in people, we'll have feelings. But if our parents are saying, it's okay to feel overwhelmed, I feel stressed too, sometimes we feel down, and giving them the verbiage to use to talk about what's going on would normalize us so much. And then we wouldn't feel like we have to pretend everything's okay or stuff it down or numb out and start drinking or smoking cigarettes or having sex or any of the things that we might do, right? And like, I think that parents fear giving mental illness or a bad example to their children, but the best example we can give to our children is taking care of our mental health and letting them know that it's completely okay to feel different ways. It's completely okay to talk about it. And there are professionals out there to get help. And so my advice to this person would be that you aren't, like, no one's a perfect parent, right? But you're doing the best you can. And the fact that you're going to try to get help and reach out, I would bring her with you. It's fine for her. She's so little. It's fine for her to see that mom is getting therapy. It's okay for her to know you're having a hard time. I think the more we talk about it, the less likely it is for our children to struggle and for our children to not have words to put to how they feel. And so I think that that's the best. That's my advice. Real talk. Over and out.
Click the screen.
I know. I like drop the mic. But don't really drop mics. They're very expensive and they break really easily, so be careful. Okay. Cindy's asking, do private schools have counselors? They actually do. I don't know if all of them do. I can never speak for every school, but I've actually worked with 3 in my area. Santa Monica's very bougie. We have a ton of private schools, and every one of them has multiple student school counselors. So private schools should still have them. Some of them even have like their psychologists that come in like twice a week to see the kids that are having a hard time. So yeah, reach out, ask your teachers. They'll know, and they'll be able to give you their info because they usually like have their office in some portion of the big office, like in the back or on a hallway or in a certain area in the school. And you can find, yeah. I know, right? We'll ask them about tips from Katie's history of dropping mics. They're very expensive and they break, and then they make this little noise when you try to move them around because the thing inside is broken. Not that I drop a lot of mics, not in the cool way, like boom, I'm out, like Drake or something. It's more like, oh, I dropped this shit and it's not even turned on. Okay, let's do one more question just because I'm having a good time hanging out with you guys, and then we're gonna go. What can you say? Okay. Appropriate holiday gifts for therapists.
I said a nice card.
Yeah. The truth about appropriate holiday gifts for therapists, that's actually a really good question to end on. Let's just end on an exciting gift-giving note. Appropriate gifts to give your therapist are simple things that are inexpensive, thoughtful, and potentially mostly homemade. Like things that I usually get, coffee mugs, coffee paraphernalia, for lack of a better term, like I even get tea, but I get like little Nespresso cups because I have an espresso machine and I love it. And they're those, those little whatever pods, I guess what you call them. I get those. I get cookies and I get cards. And I think all of those are wonderful. I think those are all great because as therapists, we're not supposed to take gifts that are really expensive because that can like make the relationship a little weird. And I know that it's usually something that's done out of like love and appreciation, but it's unethical for us to accept them, and that can just be kind of uncomfortable because, we appreciate it, and, that's really great. And so those are things, yeah, cookies are best. I think the cookies are great. Cakes, I've gotten cupcakes and all sorts of different things like that. I've even gotten a scarf once. That was nice, but just something, keep it like inexpensive. I always think like under $20 or under $30 so that it's like, you know, not too crazy, and it's just thoughtful. But mainly the most common thing I get are cards and baked goods, and I love all of them. So yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, everybody, I will let you know. Follow me on Twitter. Oh yeah, and we're number 11. We're trending. You guys, we've never trended that big before. This is amazing. I think Sundays.
37,000 likes, huge.
Yeah, almost 37,000 likes. You guys, we're so trendy. I know, Wasklet, we're so trendy.
Do a group screen
Super
capture.
cool. How do we do a screen capture?
They just click on you.
Oh, yeah. You guys can capture the moment. I thought maybe I could capture. I wish I could capture all of
Wouldn't
it
that
at
be cool
once.
if you could do an audience capture?
Yeah, right? I know, almost to 37. But yes, I will get on Patreon. Keely, I'm going to get on Patreon and answer your questions on there. It may be a little later today or tomorrow. But yes, I'll get to it. Don't think I'm forgetting about you. And I have to edit a bunch of videos today is why I'm saying I'm not sure when I'll be able to do it, because we're getting all the videos ready for when we're on vacation. And I will answer your questions over there. Happy holidays, everybody. If you want to know what I'm up to and you want to stay connected and everything, I will...
Snapchat.
Yeah. It's like Sean thinks this is my first day at work and I don't know what I'm doing. But, you know, this isn't my first rodeo. But I'm going to be on Instagram and I'm going to be on Snapchat. And both of those are Kati Morton 1. And I don't promise it to be super exciting or fun, but if you're curious, that's what I'm doing. And, and I asked on Snapchat the other day if any of you have book recommendations or any articles or things that I should read. I'm trying to put together, because I am going to be working on the anxiety workbook. Hey. But I do need to have a read that's like, I'm flying into another universe, like Harry Potter. I want another Harry Potter, you know, because I just can't keep reading them over and over. Or can I? I can. I totally can. But anyway, number 9, you guys. Number 9. Whoop, 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 whoop.
So close to 40.
I know. We're so close. So close. But anyway, so, Divergent. I know, I love... Okay, so anyway, if you have... Tweet to me if you have any good book ideas. I love you all. Have a wonderful and happy holidays. I hope that you have safe travels. I hope all of you get to enjoy the time that you want with the people that you want. And I hope that the... Looking for Alaska. Is that a good one? Oh yeah, Fantastic Beasts. You guys, so many good ones. Okay, but I hope you have safe travels, enjoying time with people who love and support you. I hope my videos are helpful. I'll still be posting, obviously, onto Instagram and Snapchat, but everything else, you know, I might not be. I'll still try to approve your comments and stuff, but I'm just going to try to take a break so that I can relax and recharge and spend time. And I hope all of you can do the same. Make sure to put yourself first this holiday season. Do things that feel good to you. Know that I'm thinking about you. I love you all. And I will see you. We'll have a video on Monday, but I'll see you soon. And I'll let you know when the next live stream is. So follow me on Twitter for that. That's where I always post it, okay? And I post on Facebook. But I will see you later. Bye!